Hey everybody, it's Mandy. Welcome back to my channel. You're watching Midwest Century Mandy. In today's video, we're going to be doing a Q&A, a little get to know me, and I asked ChatGPT, aka Skynet, to ask me some questions. Also some family and friends I asked to kind of contribute some questions to me too, just so you can get to know me a little bit better. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel and also give this video a big ol' thumbs up for me. So without further ado, let's jump into the very first question. Let's start off with the hard stuff, shall we? What's my name and where I'm from? My name is Mandy, and I'm originally from Southern California, just outside of Los Angeles, about 40 minutes away without traffic. And I currently reside in Southwest Missouri, just outside of Joplin, Missouri. So it's right in the corner, and I live in a small town outside of Joplin. This next question is really interesting because it's kind of a two-parter. It says, was it hard adjusting to the Midwest coming from the West Coast? Yes, it was when I moved here when I was 19. I moved here for about a year and a half when I was 19, and oh my gosh, like what a culture shock. I stayed here for a couple of weeks on and off visiting Kyle. I was like, oh, I love it. And then once I got here, I'm like, wait, I can't go to concerts every week? I was so homesick for that year and a half where it physically made me sick. We packed our bags, moved back to California. We were almost there for about 10 years. And then our lifestyle changed and we're like, we need to get the heck out of California because we're not gonna be able to own our own property or our own home in California. It's just almost near impossible. And I just was ready to be done with the rat race. I was done sitting in traffic. I was done just chasing our own tail and being tired all the time and being stressed out. And I just really needed a reset. We had visited Missouri the year prior to us moving. It was 2019 when we came to visit his family, and at that point I was like, let's make a 5-year plan to move back. And then the pandemic hit and it kind of fast forwarded everything. I can honestly say that this is like the happiest that I've ever been. I don't have a lot of the stressors that came with living in California, and I miss my family so much. I always say that my little town would be so perfect. It would be our own little slice of heaven if my family lived here. The second time, there was really no adjustment needed. What inspired this YouTube channel? So I've been wanting to do YouTube for a long time, like for years. And I always just kind of had this like, I don't know what it was. I think it was just kind of an insecurity. I watch so much YouTube now that I'm like, I can do that. And all of my family and friends are like, why don't you do a YouTube channel? Like, you would be so good at it. And the inspiration behind kind of my content and everything is just to really have like a video diary of things that make me happy, whether that be going on adventures or, you know, sharing the things that I love with the world. I thought, hey, why not? There's no time like the present. Which leads me to the next question that says, what kind of content can viewers expect from your channel? Really, this is gonna be a video diary for me and all of the things that I love, but want to share with you as well. So adventures with my husband and my dog, going flea marketing, going roller skating, basically just a West Coast girly like me living her best life in the Midwest and just sharing that with you. Also, I'll be sharing with you some, you know, vintage style vlogs, hauls, what have you, and just fun times with friends, and yeah, just things that make me happy. What do I do for work? I have actually been working for a company for over 10 years now, which is insane, and it is basically my dream job. So it takes, you know, my love for making people happy and helping people out and my love for being creative, and kind of marries that perfectly. So I get to basically scrapbook all day and help schools make their yearbooks. I'm really into, obviously, preserving memories. Yearbooks are a perfect avenue for that. And yearbooks are just the perfect snapshot of that moment in time. And when you look back on them, and I look back on my yearbooks frequently, almost kind of like, it's kind of freaky, but I look back on my yearbooks so often and I'm just like, wow, I'm so glad that I have these, because if I didn't, like, I would miss out on a lot of these little small moments that you just don't think are that important when, you know, you get your yearbook for the first time, but now you look back and you're like, wow, like that person is married, that person has kids, you know, that person unfortunately is no longer with us, but look at all the memories that we have of that person printed in these pages. So to me, yearbooks are just true treasures, and I'm very, very grateful that I get to do something that I love every single day. And I'm very grateful that I actually get to do it from my home. I'm actually sitting in my office right now. I get to be surrounded by all the things that I love, doing something that I love. This is your PSA to make sure you save all of your yearbooks, save all of your parents' yearbooks, save all of your grandparents' yearbooks, because I have my grandparents' yearbooks, because you will never know how important it is to look back on those things until you don't have them anymore. So that's your PSA. What are my hobbies and interests? I guess my hobby would be roller skating. I do love roller skating. I started skating about 6 months ago once I bought my first pair of my own skates, and it's been such an amazing outlet for me as far as like working out. It's like a full body workout, and you don't realize that until, you know, 30 minutes into your skate session and every part of your body is hurting. It's one of those things where as soon as I put my skates on, all of the craziness that happens in my head, which is a lot, all the craziness just kind of gets quiet. I just love the freedom that I feel when I am on my roller skates. I am a theme park junkie. I have always been a theme park junkie ever since I was a little kid. I grew up in Southern California, so I had Knott's Berry Farm, I had Disneyland right in our backyard. We were pass holders for Knott's Berry Farm and Disneyland, so theme parks are a huge interest and hobby of mine. And now we are season pass holders for Silver Dollar City in Branson, so that's really fun. And I get to experience theme parks still in Missouri, which is wonderful. Do I have any pets, and what are their names, and what kind of animals are they? I have 2 cats. One is an orange tabby. His name is Jesco. He is, we think, around 14, so he's a little old man. And our second cat, her name is Marilyn. She's the cutest little tuxedo kitty, and we rescued her after one of our other cats decided to peace out from our house. I'm not bitter, Delilah, if you're watching this. Our tuxedo kitty, Marilyn, is around probably 4 or 5. And don't tell my cats this, but my pride and joy is our 2-year-old, almost 2-year-old Australian Shepherd named Salem. We've had her since she was 8 weeks old. She was a birthday present to me when I turned 30 from my husband. And oh my gosh, this girl is my pride and my joy, the love of my life. I never thought I would be that dog mom. Yeah, this girl's got like a complete chokehold on my heart and my wallet. Everybody should at least know an Australian Shepherd, and if you do know an Australian Shepherd, your lives are better for it. This is gonna be a little cringy, a little cute, but how did I meet my husband? Throwback to 2009, May of 2009 to be precise. I was on MySpace, doing my thing, doing my little scene queen, emo queen thing. I loved like discovering new music, discovering smaller bands to support, and one of those bands was a band called Prayer for the Dying, who was based in Joplin, Missouri. I posted a MySpace bulletin saying, "Hey everybody, listen to Prayer for the Dying or else." And then Kyle slid into my DMs and said, "Or else what?" And the rest is history. We have lived 1,500 miles apart for about a year and a half. So from 2009 to 2010, we never met in person. We just talked on the phone. We text messaged. There was no such thing as FaceTime back then. Skype was really like iffy and weird, so I really didn't, I mean, for all I knew, I could have been catfished and he could have been catfished before catfishing was like even a thing. I got on a plane at 19 years old, hopped on a plane and got off the plane, and there he was, and the rest is absolute history. We have almost been married for 10 years. It will be 10 years this November. We just celebrated 14 years of knowing each other and being in each other's lives, which is like crazy, but he truly is my best friend, my soulmate. I love him so much, and I love our little love story. I love this question. This question says, if money was limitless, where would you go first? I would hop on a plane, first class, baby, and spend a couple months in Germany. I would love to kind of go to Czechoslovakia, which was Bohemia when my Oma lived there, and just go and see where she grew up and take that same route that she took to go back to Germany, and just to like put my feet on the soil of my roots that I just so love so much. One of these days I will go to Germany, hopefully very soon. The next is, what is my most embarrassing moment? I'm gonna preface this, I have a lot of embarrassing moments. I am very cringeworthy. My most recent embarrassing moment is probably the funniest, and maybe it's not gonna translate well when I say it, but like every time I think about it, I just like can't stop laughing because it is so embarrassing. Like, anyway, okay, so it flashed back to April of this year, just a couple months ago. I am in Sacramento for a work convention. My boss and our IT manager and we go out to this really nice restaurant. First and foremost, this place was like way fancy. We did not expect it to be that fancy. We sit down and my boss goes, he goes, go ahead and order some cocktails if you'd like, you know, and this is kind of like a 10-year celebratory dinner for myself and for our IT manager, because we both started the same year. I'm like, okay, I'm going to order this cocktail, and I'm looking at the menu and a lot of it is in French, so I'm like, okay, I'm so confident. I am a bona fide Francophile after spending 3 years in high school French. Like, I got this, totally got this. The waiter comes back and he goes, what can I get you to drink, miss? And I say, I'll have a corpse revive. And he looks at me in my eyes, dead in my eyes, and says, a corpse reviver? And I about died. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. And then he left and I wanted to die. I'm like, he knows I'm a fraud. Oh my gosh, I feel so stupid. And I was like cringing. And every time I tell that story, I like want to cry because it's so embarrassing. So you're welcome. You're welcome, world. That is my embarrassing story. This next question is, can you tell us about your tattoos? The first one is my Rebel Alliance symbol on my wrist. It was my very first tattoo that I got when I was 19. My parents always said, you aren't to get tattoos until you're out on your own and supporting yourself. And literally 2 weeks after I moved to Missouri when I was 19, I got a tattoo on Valentine's Day. My second tattoo is actually on my foot, which I will put a picture up right here. And it is the Banksy balloon from one of his pieces of art that has a little girl like reaching for the heart balloon. And then in Tangwar, which is the Elvish alphabet, I have Carpe Diem on my foot, and that is a little kind of an ode to two of my favorite things. I love Lord of the Rings, and I also love Robin Williams and Dead Poet Society. The next one is my Little Mermaid tattoo, which I'll also put a picture up right here. It is my biggest piece that I have. It was the longest. And ever since I was a little girl, I've always loved Ariel. I just loved this style of like traditional pinup meets Little Mermaid. I had to get her on my leg, and it says siren, and I just love like the lore of sirens where it's like they lure you in with their beautiful voice and then they just... The next tattoo that I have is my Blink-182 tattoo. It's this one right here, and it says I'm not like you guys, and it's got this little UFO scene. The next one I have is my Harry Potter tattoo, and it's Harry Potter casting his Patronus against a Dementor. Sherry Dupree Bemis from Isley. This is one of her pieces of art, so I was glad to get that tattooed on me as well. The last tattoo that I have gotten is the most sentimental. A lot of people in my family have passed away from cancer. One of the closest people in my life was my Uncle Pete. He battled cancer on and off for about 10 years, something like that. And there was an organization called F Cancer. It's an organization that's really near and dear to my heart and our family's heart. A lot of the people closest to Pete, including Pete himself, got a F Cancer tattoo in some way, shape, or form. Basically, their logo for their organization is a skull, and then it has an F and a C on either sides of the skull. As an ode to him, a lot of people got that logo tattooed on them. I think it was 2016 when things kind of started taking a turn. I really wanted to get my own version of the FC tattoo, and I took it a step further because we call my Uncle Pete's daughter, so one of my best friends, my little cousin, my little sister, whom I love so much, her name's Madison, we call her Goonie. That's just kind of what we call her, and we still call her that. I still call her that anyways. So I thought it would be really cute to get the Goonies logo because it is a skull. I got the Goonies logo, and it's one of my favorite movies, so of course, you know, an ode to the Goonies and to my Goonie. And I had her draw an F and a C in her handwriting. So I have on my arm right here, I have the Goonies One-Eyed Willie logo and the F and C for F Cancer. And then Kyle's grandfather also, at the same time that my uncle was battling his fight with cancer, Kyle's grandfather was also battling ocular melanoma. And so I got the eye patch filled in as an ode to Grandpa Roger as well. So this one is probably my favorite tattoo because it has a lot of meaning. All of my tattoos have some kind of meaning, but this one is really near and dear to my heart, so I love it so much. Golly, that took forever. If you have made it this far, kudos to you. You're my favorite. And just to get those kudos for making it this far, I want you to comment a skull and crossbones emoji as an ode to my favorite tattoo. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you give this video a big ol' thumbs up for me. Thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.